Hi everybody, Fred the Pirate here, and this is a review for Naruto, chapter 626, entitled uh, Hashirama and Madara 2. So, pretty much what happens in this week's chapter is Hashirama and Madara confront each other about Madara's new dream, and so at first, Hashirama asked Madara, why don't you explain your dream to me, both as a superior, but more importantly as a friend. And Hashirama's pretty much like, you're not going to get my dream, so I'm not going to explain it to you. And so after that happens, pretty much for the rest of the chapter, Hashirama and Madara continue to fight each other. So we pick up in the fight that they had at the beginning of this series of flashbacks, which happened, I think, in chapter 6, started in chapter 621. So we pick up at that fight. So pretty much, Hashirama ends up defeating Madara and the QBU. So he ends up defeating both of them. And essentially, the way he defeats Madara is he fakes them out, and he ends up using this wood clone, and then he ends up getting behind Madara and stabbing him through the heart. And Madara is really surprised by this, and he's like, "How did you get the drop on me?" And I think Hashirama was pretty much because like I had to, and it's like I'm a better ninja than you are. And Hashirama explains, I didn't want to have to fight you, and I certainly didn't want to have to kill you. But it's like you kept attacking the village, and we get in the flashbacks we get sequences of that where Madara just essentially being an asshole and attacking everything. So and so Hashirama tells him, like, I didn't want to have to be your enemy, but like you forced my hand. And it's like, I created this village because I thought that this was the best option for everybody, that I thought this is a way to, to give everybody peace and stability and happiness. And it's like, you're my friend. Like you were my best friend. Like you were like a brother to me. And it's like, but the thing is that this is my village, and I'm going to protect my village. And it could have been our village, but you decided to turn your back on that. So I'm going to protect it. And Hashirama says that, I'd protect that village from my brothers, from my friends, and even from my children if my hand was forced to do that, because this is my village, and I will stop, and if necessary, I will kill anyone who threatens the safety of this village. And more importantly, what the village signifies, which is, peace and stability. And it's like, I didn't want to have to be your enemy, and I didn't want to have to kill you, but you forced my hand. So, and after that happens, we return back to the present time, and Hashirama mentions to Sasuke, it's like, that he felt like when talking to Madara, that when he killed him, that he felt like, that he told pretty much Madara that like kind of the ends justified the means. But Madara ends up mentioning before he dies, it's like, you're just justifying what you just did. And that it's not really that the ends justified the means, but that's just what you're telling yourself. And he says, what you're going to do is only going to plunge the village into darkness. And when Hashirama leaves the flashback, and when we return back to the present time, and he's talking to Sasuke, he mentions to Sasuke that, ironically, Madara was right about that, because, your brother ended up having to pursue a path of darkness, and he ended up having, obviously, to kill the Uchiha clan. So, I guess, and Hashirama mentions to Sasuke, it's like, I guess everything I did to try to prevent chaos and disorder with the village just ended up, creating it anyways. And so Madara, ironically, was correct with that. Although, I think with that said, this was, to me, it was an alright chapter. The fight was okay, and it was certainly interesting to hear, Hashirama's speech and his thoughts on things. Honestly, I was kind of sad that we didn't get to see Mito because, like I said the last review I did, I kind of just always assumed that she would definitely be in there because she's Hashirama's wife and Tsunade's grandmother, and it just seems like, she'd be in there at least for those reasons. But obviously, she's Kurama's Jinchuriki, so it's like I figured, she'd be there at some point. Because I think that's a pretty significant plot point. Like, she is the first Jinchuriki of Kurama's, so that's a pretty big deal, and I would assume that she would have showed up. She didn't, which is weird, and honestly, we're leaving, it seems like we're leaving the flashback, so, and honestly, I think it's definitely about time. Like, I think the flashback's definitely, taken enough time. It was an okay series of flashback. Like, I don't really think that there was anything that happened in here that was earth-shattering. I mean, I think pretty much everything that happened in here, like, we knew it was going to happen because pretty much we've been told what's happened through multiple angles. And honestly, I think we were just essentially told what was happening through Hashirama's point of view, but it's like what he remembered really isn't any different from pretty much what we knew from various other flashbacks that have happened in the series. So it's like, I think pretty much all of us kind of had an idea of what was going to happen in this flashback. And like I said, I don't think we were told anything new. So, so honestly, kind of a really disappointing use of flashbacks. Like, I mean, this definitely isn't as good as the Kushina flashback because in that flashback, like a whole bunch, like we learned a whole bunch of stuff that was new information to us, and stuff that we wanted to know, since the beginning of the series. So it's like that was a good flashback, but I think this is like I don't really think we were taught anything that we didn't already know. So honestly, I don't think anything really earth-shattering happened. Although pretty much I think the only thing that we learned that we didn't know is that Madara was a co-founder of the village and that he was, that he could have become the first Hokage. But those are like really the only two things that we didn't know. And honestly, I don't think we needed like 4 or 5 chapters worth of flashbacks to get that type of information. So overall, like, yeah, the series of flashbacks were pretty ho-hum. Definitely looking forward to next week's chapter when we start moving along and we get back to, where we left off with Naruto and all the ninjas fighting, Madara and Obito, and it'll certainly be nice to see all the resurrected Hokages and Sasuke and Team Hawk along with Orochimaru kind of get into the fold with that battle because obviously, that's going to happen soon. And honestly, I'm not sure who's going to side with who. Like, I know, obviously, the Hokages are going to side with the Naruto and the ninjas, but honestly, I think Team Hawk could probably go either way. And I think Orochimaru could probably go either way. And Sasuke that way too. Like, I'm assuming they're setting it up for Sasuke to at least help defeat Madara and Obito. But I don't really know if that means that he's, done doing the shit he's been doing. So this has been a review of chapter 626 of the manga series Naruto. And let me hear what you guys think about it. So make sure to comment, rate, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys again next time.